Hello everybody, this is DeanoGTO, and this is, I believe, the first video I've ever put up of the Super Pershing on my channel. Now, Super Pershing is a pretty unique vehicle for the most part. I think the only vehicle I can really think of that's comparable to this thing is pretty much the T110E5, where you can just point the front at the enemy and your armor is pretty much invincible, but unlike the T110E5, this thing's pretty well balanced. It has some serious weak points. It has, hang on, I'm just going to press a V here for a second so we can see it a bit better. It has a weak point here, and it also has the obvious cupola. Not this one's not actually part of the armor model. This one here is though. Basically look for this big, weird looking thing here, and that's the side you shoot. So yeah. It also has a pretty serious weak point in the form of its, if you shoot this track here or this track here, you're likely to set it on fire. Annoying, it's a really annoying issue, but yeah, for the most part, I get pretty lucky in terms of not getting set on fire, but I'm pretty lucky in terms of setting other Super Pershings on fire by shooting there. So yeah, and that's another serious advantage to this vehicle. Something shooting HE at you, your spaced armor just absorbs it like crazy. It's kind of incredible how well that this armor actually absorbs high explosive shots like the OI just fired. Actually, no, it wasn't even a high explosive shot. That was a the T-3045 is the one firing HE actually. That was the 122 HE cannon. The OI he fired, and with the AP round he bounced 700 damage off me. Now I'm focusing the OI down first. I have 190. What was it, 192 pen? So this thing has the same pen as the M46KR, except I believe it has a faster shell velocity and let's see. And unlike the M46KR, this thing gets premium matchmaking, so it will never meet tier 10s. And thank fuck for that, because this thing would be useless in a tier 10 game. But yeah, yeah, that's one of the annoying things about IS, is if they just move their hull, if you're aiming at the lower plate, you're going to hit the track every single time, and it's really annoying. But yeah, I'm going to try and focus down the one that I can kill the easiest, because that just feels like the best thing to do right now. Although, if I get a chance to shoot the OI, I'm going to shoot the OI, because the OIs are annoying. And it's better to have them dead sooner rather than later. So, it is now a one-shot for me, which is really, really nice. The 3045 is around the corner, but I see the IS is giving me a bit of his front armor to shoot, so I shoot his front armor and kill him. So, removing the gun from the game, always a nice thing to do. Now, they have KV2 now. I don't know if he's looking at me. I can't see past the wreck of the IS. And I can't actually get a shot into the T-34 either. So, second shot into the side of the KV2's turret. He only has 140 health left, so if I fire no shot into him, he's dead. That's another thing about this vehicle. It only has a 7-second reload. 7-second reload with a 90mm gun. And with a tank that has as much armor as this one, that's pretty damn sweet. And at this point, I noticed the issue we're having with the western flank. They have come along the beach, and they have gotten up behind us. So we need to head back, and we need to try and stop them from just annihilating us from behind. So going to head on down here. This is one of the main issues with the Super Pershing. It is not fast, and I braked there just in case because I didn't want to ram into the Type 64. But yeah, this is one of the main flaws with the Super Pershing. It is not a fast tank. And unfortunately, because it's so easy to set on fire, you cannot afford to use a consumable of some sort that gives like extra engine power, like fuel or something like that as an example. And yeah, that's the advantage to shooting vehicles in the tracks right there. I shot him in the tracks, got 480 assistance damage purely because I shot him in the tracks, kept him tracked so that the other guy could put a shot into him. Now, the Super Pershing is focused on me. He gets shot into, I believe that was probably my turret, more than likely, because, well, I can't see him getting past the spaced armor from that angle. Now, this Super Pershing here is now focused onto the heavy tank number 6 for some reason. He's focusing completely on that guy instead of focusing on me. And yeah, I think I may have hit his fuel tank and his engine, so he's pretty much screwed, and the VK100 has killed him. So, this is one of those rare instances where the VK100 has actually managed to be consistently in the flow of the battle, because this game has been running for about 5 minutes now, and he doesn't have that far to travel in order to get to the main fight. Now, the MX-12T, he is pissing off there now. I 100% thought he was going to just kind of like hide at the back and like wait for us to move forward. Like I 100% thought he was going to like hide like here somewhere. And just while we were all trying to deal with the Hellcat and the T-20 Prot, he was just going to sit and put shots in their asses. And I was just like, I can't let that tank sit and do that. If I let him sit and do that there, then we are going to die. So, yeah, second shot into the Hellcat just quickly there because it's a Hellcat and it's always useful to get a shot into something as quick and as agile as that thing. And yeah, this is the main issue here, as I've said before. The speed is not good. And at this point I start reversing because I don't want to get shot in the ass by the Hellcat. At this point I started moving forward and wasn't really sure what to do. And somehow we went from, I believe, a 5 versus 3 to a 2 versus 3. So this match tightened up a lot at the very end. And honestly, I was getting really nervous at this point because I was thinking like, fuck, I don't want to fuck this up. I've got 600 health. That's one shot from the T-28 and one shot from the Hellcat. That's not good. And it's one clip for the 12T. The 12T is easily my biggest concern here. And I don't like doing this because I'm leaving the VK100 unsupported, and if he is left unsupported, it would be very easy for the Hellcat to just rush him and just circle him to death. And the Pershing is not a fast tank, so it wouldn't be able to react fast enough in order to be able to do the damage. And I immediately ping the map when I see the T-20 Prot has been spotted. And I'm going to try a shot. Unfortunately, it clips the building, and that's going to make this a lot closer than I would like. And I immediately load an APCR round because this game is close. We are down a tank in comparison to them, and T-20 Prototype is notoriously troll these days for its frontal armor. Like, because it's gotten faster and because it's actually gotten a bit more acceleration thanks to the more powerful engine it got, it's actually kind of annoying to hit its weak point on this frontal armor, and you can't really do it as consistently as you could previously. So I'm not willing to take the risk. So I load an APCR round. The VK100 kills the T-28 Prot, which is really nice, and the 12T is now going to rush the VK100, and this sucks because the 12T is just able to just shred him. But thankfully, the VK100 takes out the Hellcat with his final shot of the game, and now it's just me versus the MX-12T. Yeah, this has gotten way too close for comfort. I'm just noticing now that if me and the VK100 and the IS-3 on our team had platooned, we would have been in for a shot at the crucial contribution medal. Yeah, and VK100 just told me he's shooting APCR. Yeah, and be careful. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. I don't want to put myself in a situation where he can just rush around a building and just surprise me and catch me off guard, because I will not be able to react fast enough to kill a light tank in that kind of situation. So I'm going to have to try and basically force him into a corner where he has to push into me in order to do anything. So yeah, I need to be able to guarantee the first shot. That's essentially what I need to do. And luckily, I have a 7-second reload, so at least if I miss the first shot, I do have at least a chance of getting a second shot off, unlike if I was in something with a slower reload. And right now, I see him, and the shot, bang. Now, just want to clarify something right here. That was an APCR round. You may be thinking, what an unnecessary APCR round. You did not need to fire that at an MX-12T. Here is where I would argue my point. That's an MX-12T. He was moving very quickly there at the very end. The APCR round has a much faster shell velocity. The 12T is a pretty fast, pretty maneuverable tank. So my immediate thought was, I need to kill him with my first shot. If I miss my first shot, I'm probably not going to get a second one, because he will just close the distance and he will just circle me to death. So I had to try and make sure I killed him with the first shot, because if he caught me off guard, that was the best chance I was going to get to kill him. But if he caught me off guard in a situation where I wasn't expecting him, he would easily be able to kill me, and I would not be able to react fast enough, because chances are he would damage my engine if he got behind me, or he would take out my track, and I would not be able to respond to that. So my gut reaction was, load an APCR round, make the leading of the shot easier, and just make sure you kill the guy so you don't mess it up essentially. So yeah, that game was very 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 close, and yeah, 2,900 damage blocked by this thing's armor. That just shows you how solid this thing's armor is. Granted, this was a tier 8 game. Those are mainly tier 7s, tier 6s that I was fighting. For the most part, I can't really think. The only tier 8 I really fought was the Super Pershing, but this game mainly just shows you how well this thing is able to just dominate um, lower tiered vehicles. It just does not fear lower tiered vehicles at all, and is very, very, very good at killing them. And yeah, it's only really in the specific waypoints that I showed you, and well, also this little area here, that this thing is really weak from the front. And all those are relatively small targets, and if you keep yourself at some sort of range, you are very difficult to penetrate reliably. So yeah, but you also need to take into consideration that because you're a slow tank, you can't really respond very quickly to sudden surprise situations. Like you need to be very aware when you're playing a vehicle like this here. You can't just derp around like you can something like an AS6 or an Object 252. You need to actually concentrate on what you're doing. It's weird to say, considering this thing is basically just a just actually thinking about it, this thing's probably more comparable to the VK4502B at tier 9 than it is the T125. But yeah, screw it. I've lost my train of thought. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on to the post game stats. Okay, so we're back with the post game results or post match results, whatever you want to call them. A bit of a brain fart there. So this was with an ace tanker, steel wall, high caliber. So most of those were to be expected. And I'm annoyed kind of because I wish I could remember what the VK100's damage blocked was. I can't remember for the life of me, but I wish I knew. But because I think it may have actually been equal to, or maybe a wee bit higher than mine, but because he died, he didn't get what he probably should have got. If I'm totally honest, and that's always something that always kind of annoyed me about steel walls. If you die, you don't get it. It's really annoying. So yeah, as I said, ace tanker, steel wall, high caliber, top of the team on damage, top of the game in damage actually. 4 kills, 1426 base XP, and yeah. So I made 65,000 credits in that game. It says received 88k, total 65k. Now, pay attention to one important detail in this. If you remember the Lova game from the other day, the one that I said I was going to do the Super Pershing next then, that thing cost 1,000 credits a shot to fire. This thing here costs like 240, and you can see that there with the amount of credits I made in this game in this thing in comparison to the Lova itself. Now, this is actually going to lead into a video I'm going to do at some point where I'm going to discuss like what premium would be best to buy for specific types of players and like how you should judge which premium you should buy. So yeah, I'm going to make my own separate video on that there because I feel like trying to get into it here now I would end up spending about 10 minutes talking about it, and I don't think anybody would watch that there after just like me randomly starting to ramble on about shit like that there after doing some gameplay. So yeah. Just one thing I just wanted to just say quickly. So this thing takes more shots in order to do the same amount of damage roughly as the Lova, but because the shots are considerably cheaper, like if you think about it, 240 damage shot costs about 250 credits to fire. 320 damage shot costs 1,000 credits to fire. You can see the ratio there of like credits, like cost per damage, if that makes sense. So yeah. The ratio is much better in the Super Pershing than it is in the Lova, but the Lova is overall probably a more consistent machine because of the Super Pershing in some situations just can't really hold up very well. But yeah, I've rambled on for a little too long, I think. But if you think damn it, forgot to speak. If you like this kind of content, consider liking, subscribing, all the generic kind of stuff there by says off YouTube videos, and let me know what tanks do you want to see me play. If you have any interest in seeing any specific types of tanks, let me know. I'll try my best to try and play them, try and show some gameplay of them, because if there's a demand, then I'll try and meet the demand. So yeah, well obviously if as long as it's not a premium tank that's not like available or something like that there, then I'll try my best. If it's a standard tank, then I'll try my best to try and obtain it, to try and show some gameplay of it. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.